Hi, my name is Austin, and over the next few videos I am going to be your guide to getting into Dungeons & Dragons. If you're here, you probably either got invited to a game by a friend or saw it being played somewhere and thought it looked really interesting, but want to know more about the game. You may know about it through reputation, but for the uninitiated, Dungeons & Dragons is the usual blanket name for any tabletop RPG. There are a lot of them out there, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, and Fantasycraft to name a few, but in this series I'm going to be focusing on D&D 5th edition. This version is the most well-known and freely available version of Dungeons & Dragons, and is generally the easiest for new players to learn. Actually playing the game looks a lot like this, with your Dungeon Master sitting at a place of prominence at the table and you, the players, arranged before them. The role of the Dungeon Master is to create and manage the world in which the players explore, acting as your eyes and ears in their universe and determining the results of your actions and how they affect everything around you. Your job is to be a main character and help your DM tell their story. The things you do in game should be focused on moving forward, going to the next town, solving a crisis, generally just engaging with the world around you. The DM does not write the story, you do. The DM just creates the setting and moves the world around your party, and that is the appeal of D&D in my opinion. Coming together with a group of close friends to enjoy each other's company and have an adventure together. Now, if you've found a game that you're interested in joining or have been invited to one, you've probably already taken a look at a friend's copy of the Player's Handbook or the free SRD available anywhere. There's a link down in the description. Despite this being the simplest version of D&D out there, it looks like there's still a whole heck of a lot of rules in there, right? Well, there are, but the only thing I ask of new players is that they come to the table prepared to be an actor in the story, prepared to make things happen and help the party move along, and not be afraid to do what they think would be cool. The rules will all come as you play the game. I think there is one way to play Dungeons & Dragons wrong, and that's just to not participate at all. There's always a way you can be a main character, so don't be afraid to get a little creative. The only real hard and fast rules that I think players need to memorize are the basics of combat and how to spellcast, but just the bare bones of it. There are innumerable ways for you to quickly reference key pieces of information, from creating your own cheat sheet like I do for my characters, to various apps and websites that have all the information you need organized more conveniently than any book you'll ever comb through. In later videos, I'm going to be going over some of those methods in more detail, but for now I want to emphasize how genuinely easy it is to get into this game. If you're showing up to your first session with nothing but a blank character sheet, or maybe not even that, odds are that your experienced companions will have everything you need. Dice, a copy of the Player's Handbook, some spare character sheets, pencils, maybe even a journal for you to take notes. Of course, if you're going to keep playing after the first session, it's generally considered common courtesy to get your own set of these things. No one likes a mooch, and if you show up to your next session with your own set of dice after showing up to the first one with nothing, it'll show that you have a lot of interest in what's going on and that you'll probably be back for more sessions. Over the next few videos, I'll be attempting to give you as a new player all the knowledge you need to show up to your new table not just ready to join, but confident that you'll be able to participate in the game and actively make the table much better than it was before. We as a community are more than happy to teach new players as they go. In fact, I think that's the best way to learn how to play the game, is to just play the game. But I know a lot of people personally feel uncomfortable or like a nuisance when they're constantly asking questions they feel would be obvious. So I'm here to help with that. Keep in mind, no question is dumb, and even veterans forget the simplest things. I also want to touch on the idea of the rule of cool. Oftentimes, DMs will simply ignore the rules in favor of doing something badass or funny or just plain entertaining that a player wants to attempt. There are no rules for how much damage a horse teleported 500 feet in the air will do when it drops on top of a giant. The DM is the final arbiter of the rulings, and many DMs will frequently override the rules I've written because what the players have suggested is way cooler than the limits that the book places on you. Never let rulings bog your game down, and don't be afraid to attempt something that you think your character could A, realistically do, and B, would just be plain fun. The last thing I want to mention for this video in the series is that I think if you're interested but on the fence, give the game a shot. Joining a game isn't like signing a blood pact, unless you're playing the Warlock. And if you decide after the fact that it isn't for you, no one's going to get hurt about it. So give it a shot, sling some spells, shoot some arrows, and most importantly, enjoy your time in another world with your friends. Long days and pleasant nights, adventurer.